I am the Easton villain, Josh Ashcraft, leader of the Legacy of Brutality, and you're listening to the E's and B's podcast.
Good morning, all you wrestling and sports fans. This is the E's and B's, the Bacon and Eggs of Pro Wrestling Sports podcast. And I'm your host, Eddie B. Welcome back to this beautiful Friday, first Friday in the shortest month of the year. But that's all right. You get me 4 times. That's right, me, Eddie B, here on the E's and B's podcast. We welcome you into a great Friday here. We got a huge slate of things on tap. Fill up the breakfast bowl. That's right. We've got a super tough love breakfast today. Special guest, Josh Ashcraft from OVW. Also, special guest reporting live from the Super Bowl in Tampa, folks. It's 104.3 The Fans host, Dan Jacobs. That's right. We're going to jump into a little bit of wrestling review, talk about the Rumble, a little bit of Aces Wild. I got something to tell you also about that. Plus, bringing in Lauren in the end to talk about all the cool things coming up. There's some giveaways coming, folks. So stay tuned, because you're listening to the E's and B's podcast.
Hey, Dan Jacobs here from 104.3 The Fan. You're listening to the absolutely best breakfast, sports, wrestling podcast in the entire world. Keep it locked in to the E's and B's podcast.
All right. Get things started here. It's Super Bowl Sunday coming up in 2 days. And like I said at the beginning, I've got a special guest reporting live from Tampa Bay at the Super Bowl. Let's get right to it, folks. Let's get to Dan Jacobs. All right, fans, I want to welcome in, coming to you live from Tampa Bay, reporting for the Super Bowl from 104.3 The Fan, everybody. It's Dan Jacobs. How's it going, my man?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
Man, it's great to have you back. It's beautiful here in Colorado, starting to get a little chilly. What's the weather like where you're at, my man?
Yeah, I've been cracking cheesy jokes with all the people at the golf courses. I said, "Hey, I come out here for come out from Colorado for your warm weather," and it's been cold, man. Like 50, 52.
Oh, wow!
My parka and stuff, fleece to go out and play golf.
So, what are you thinking on Sunday? What's it looking like for Sunday's weather? Do you know yet? I haven't checked on my end.
Yeah, I haven't looked, but I think it should be okay. It's getting nicer.
Okay, all right. So we won't have to worry. Maybe just, of course, maybe the Florida shower. That'd be nice just for Super Bowl. You know,
look right now because I got my phone here.
Awesome. Well, as we got Dan on today, we're obviously talking about what's going down Sunday. It's the Super Bowl. He's reporting live from Tampa. They're in person, but we want to get some storylines from him in person. So Dan, let's get right to it, my man. What do you think's going to be the head storyline coming out of Sunday?
Man, it's going to be a good game. Like, normally when the Chiefs play, you're like, well, the Chiefs are going to win. You know, they got Mahomes. You know, they're going to blow. You know, they're going to win. You know, because normally what happens is, you know, the only people that beat the Chiefs are the Chiefs, right? They get bored. They get sloppy. They get undisciplined. That's not the case right now. Like the Bucks could legitimately, if they show up and play, the Bucks just straight up win this game. So it's pretty fascinating to look at, you know, as far as the matchup wise with the defense of the Bucks and you know, 2 tackles out, both the left and right starting tackle out for Kansas City. So it's going to be really I think a tight game, a close game, a good game, which I wouldn't normally expect with the Chiefs. But yeah, this is great with Tom Brady.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I think. I think it's going to be a nail biter. I hope it's going to be a nail biter, honestly, as a football fan. But you and I, as Dolphin fans, this is something that we're pretty familiar with.
Dolphins fans?
Well, let me ask you. I am. How about you?
Yeah, I was a little disappointed with the old Tua this year. But
I'm a little disappointed. We got a little bit of time, and we'll dive into that maybe in the future. But yeah, I'm still a Dolphins fan. Always will be. But as I was saying, well, I don't know, man. I don't even know. What's your feelings on that? Would you want Watson?
Yeah, Watson's interesting because he's a really good quarterback, but he's not in that top 6-7 like right. Russell Wilson, right. Aaron Rodgers. One of those guys that just can put you on his shoulders and get you a Super Bowl. But Flores and they seem to have a decent team kind of built right now. I mean, they won 10 games with Tua.
That's what I'm saying, and in my belief. I believe in the process. I believe in Flores and what he's doing. And I just feel like we've got so much invested already, even though it has been a short period of time. Let's not, get too ahead of ourselves. But I just feel like Watson's in a desperate situation for himself. And I feel like if we take the risk and get this guy, there's more pressure put on him to perform even more coming to Miami versus, hey, we know what we got with Tua, what we need to fix. It just sounds a lot better. You know what I mean? And going after a backup to have that security blanket as well is a lot better, cheaper situation, in my opinion. That's just me as a Dolphins fan.
Yep.
As we're talking about the Super Bowl, though, Dan, like I said, there's a very familiar situation going on, and it's the 10th time we're seeing Tom Brady back in the Super Bowl, but it's a little different this time. He's coming in with a new team, a new coach, and all that. What do you think his mindset is for Sunday with this obviously a familiar place, but a different jersey number or different jersey color?
Yeah, it's interesting because this is actually one of the most talented teams he's ever had, right? Like he had that little stretch there where he had Randy Moss and those guys.
Right, yeah.
And he threw up 5,000 yards and 50-plus touchdowns. But most of the time that he was in, New England, he was making do, making chicken salad out of chicken.
You got it.
So he actually was making do with, lesser parts. This year's been interesting because they never really exploded with all that talent.
Right.
They had a great defense. They got Gronk. They got Antonio Brown. They got Godwin. They got Mike Evans. They have all this stuff, and they never really exploded. But they are coming together at the right time. And, man, Shaq Barrett and JPP on the edge. It could be the perfect storm, coming into, Sunday.
Yeah, I can agree. Like you said, they have all the weapons. And it hasn't been that big storyline all year long and how Tampa Bay's been killing everybody. It's been the opposite. It's been nobody can beat Kansas City. As you and I know, we had a pretty good game plan for Kansas City, and we exposed them. And I feel like going into this Sunday, if Tampa Bay takes a little bit of what the Dolphins did, and I'm not just saying that as a Dolphins fan, but I'm saying this as a football fan in general, if they take a little bit of what we did and mix it into their game plan with the talent they got, barring, now we know this virus could stick its neck in. We got 2 more days, but I think Tampa Bay's got a better puncher's chance than most people are giving them. And I think, like you said, we're in for a duel on Sunday.
Yeah. So I actually did a show last Super Bowl, and Tom Brady was like kind of floating around. Where's he going to go? And all these experts were talking about he's going to go here, he's going to go there. And I said, you know what? If I were Tom Brady, I would go to Tampa because all the weapons they have, and the last half of the last 8 games of last year, they have the number 1 defense in the league. So I actually said he should go to Tampa, playing that warm weather with all those, weapons. And then in April, I actually put a little scratch down on them making.
Oh, okay.
It kind of paid off handsomely last week.
Nice.
Yeah. So they have everything they need to win this game. And the question is, how on point are the Chiefs, right? Are the Chiefs going to, come in like sharp saying, hey, we're the top dog and we're going to, be on point, or are they going to do what they do? I always call them like, they're like Madden, right? Like, when we play Madden, you can kind of mess around for like a couple of quarters.
Yeah. And then you get serious.
Yeah, then you get serious. That's kind of what the Chiefs are,
Yeah, you're right.
Just kind of just get serious and win. So I don't know if they can get by with that, against this Tampa team.
Yeah, and to piggyback off what you said, I think you're correct. Tampa Bay, they're peaking at the right time. I honestly, going into this a couple weeks back on my show, I predicted this was going to be Green Bay, Kansas City. That's my prediction for the Super Bowl when I made my prediction. And honestly, I didn't necessarily count out Tampa Bay because we know what Tom Brady can do, but I just, like we've talked about, they've never wowed me.
Pass rush was crazy last week.
And they completely shocked everybody with that defense. Yes, like you said. And I think going into Sunday, like I said, if they take a little bit of Miami and some of their game plan and, a lot of other stuff, I'm sure we're in for a good one. And we got to keep in mind also, Mahomes ain't 100% either. He's got a little foot injury, so things are going to equal out. We'll know that, but I think, like I said, we're in for a good one.
Yes, sir.
All right, Dan, is there anything else you got for us coming to us live from Tampa Bay before I let you go today, buddy?
No, man, I'm just down here working hard. I'm trying to root out election fraud and the fairways and the sand traps of Tampa
yes,
and Orlando, and I'm just working really hard, man. I'm just doing my best.
Well, as always, Dan, it's a great time when you're on, and we're glad to have you back, and always welcome to come back. So enjoy that weather. Hopefully it warms up for you. Hit them straight and long, and we'll get back in touch with you and talk about how things go down this Sunday at the Super Bowl, buddy.
All right, thanks, brother.
All right, everybody. That's Dan Jacobs, 104.3 The Fan. That's right. Man, it was great to have Mr. Jacobs on. Dan Jacobs, 104.3 The Fan, reporting live from the Super Bowl, folks. He's there personally, so like I was asking about the weather, probably possibly a Florida shower this weekend on Sundays. We'll see, but it was great to talk to him and get his perspective on what he thinks is going to happen, and I had to agree almost all the way with everything he had to say there. What's going to happen this Sunday. We'll get to my predictions coming up here shortly in the Scrambled Eggs, but let's keep things rolling here on the sunny side up. Let's talk a little golf. Golf getting started last weekend, and Patrick Reed getting the first win at the Farmers Insurance Open there. Nice round. It's nice to actually see the golfers getting back to the course again. Things kind of slowly trickling back to normal. Obviously, they got another big one coming up this weekend in Phoenix. It's the Waste Open Management Tournament going on. We'll keep an eye on that one to see who takes the big win starting golf season. So can't wait to talk a lot about Tiger Woods and all the good stuff going forward here into the spring and summer here on the E's and B's. Also, let's jump right on into the NCAA Top 10 for the week. And as always, folks, these positions and records may have changed, but hey, just bear with me. Starting at number 10, it's Alabama, 14-4. At number 9, it's Oklahoma, 11-4. Number 8, Iowa, 12-4. Number 7, it's Ohio State at 14-4. Number 6, Texas at 11-3. Number 5, it's Houston at 15-1. Number 4, it's Michigan at 13-1. And just like I noted last week, folks, Michigan's still having issues with the programs, basketball and sporting stuff moving with the COVID because they had a stoppage, but I do believe they're getting back to regular things up there slowly. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more about that moving forward. But they're stuck at number 4 at 13-1. Number 3, Villanova, 11-1. Number 2, Baylor, holding it down at 16-0. And once again, folks, at number 1, it's Gonzaga, 17-0. Still, like I said last week, no Duke, no North Carolina, no Kentucky in the top 25. Things are looking a little bit different this year. I do want to mention a little side note. They did, I talked a couple weeks back here that the tournament, March Madness and stuff is going to be going on in Indianapolis, but they've been talking a lot here recently, on ESPN and on all the social media outlets, of teams maybe being able to opt out this year, not only of the big tournament, but opt out of their conference tournament. What's that going to affect? What do you think out there in E's and B's lands? I think it's going to be a big issue if you opt out of the conference tournament but expect to play in the big one. That's my opinion. I think you need to play in both no matter what your record is. We know that some crazy things happened on the football side this year with Ohio State not officially qualifying for enough games to be in the Big Ten championship game, but they bent the rules for him, and we know how that worked out. So we'll keep a close eye on that. We'll talk a little bit more about that coming up here in the future on the E's and B's. All right, last thing I got here on the sunny side up before we jump into some wrestling. It's a little bit of racing. That's right. Short track racing has been kicked up here recently, and a lot of it being the dirt side. The dirt late models have been underway along with the dirt sprints, if you might noted. I've been talking a lot about the Showtime Speedway down there in Pinellas Park, Florida, with Yoho, Robert Yoho there. He's getting bared up for his big event coming here in just a couple weeks. The World Figure 8 Finals going down at Showtime Speedway. Also, the weekend before, which is going to be next weekend, Arbondale, they've got a Figure 8 show going down, and the guys that are coming from up north of of Florida are going to be staying over and racing the following week at Showtime. So we'll keep a close eye on that. I'll be reporting a little bit about that, obviously on tap with your NASCAR talk coming up really, really soon. Hey, while I'm on NASCAR talk, I want to tell you listeners out there, we got something really, really cool going on this weekend. Stay tuned to our YouTube page, as Lauren and I are going to be posting a video, a giveaway video that is, where you have a chance to win an E's and B's shirt or a wrestling shirt of your choice coming up this weekend. You just got to follow the rules. Make sure you pay attention to our YouTube page. If you're not a subscriber, make sure you're subscribed. Hey, if you're not a subscriber to us here on the podcast, make sure you like, share, subscribe, pass the gravy, spread the butter, tell a friend, tell someone. It's real easy, real simple. All right, keeping things going, folks. As we said, wrestling talk, and we're coming off of a great pay-per-view weekend for WWE as they had one of their best and one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year, Royal Rumble, which we all know sets things up for WrestleMania. WrestleMania's going to be a little different this year, but it is going to be back where it was supposed to be last year in Tampa. They're going to allow fans so far. Let's keep our fingers crossed. So I'm really getting pumped for WrestleMania, as we know, is right around the corner. But let's talk a little bit about what happened Sunday night at Royal Rumble. And, they started the pre-show off with a women's tag match, which, I'm okay with. I'm kind of shocked that they put it on on the pre-show, but it makes a little bit of sense to give a few of these girls probably a rest before they had to obviously join the women's rumble that came a little bit later. But it was Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. They actually get their belts back. That's right. They get the win and get their belts back over Charlotte and Asuka, but we all know it didn't go easily. Yep, that's right. Things weren't easy for Charlotte and Asuka, as we know Ric Flair, Daddy Flair, and Lacey Evans sticking their nose in once again, causing a little havoc, and this time causing Charlotte and Asuka, the loss, and now no longer tag champions. So that's interesting. We'll keep an eye going forward on what proceeds with, obviously, Rick and Charlotte, as things are brewing really heavy, hot and heavy, I might add, between not only just them two, but Lacey Evans also still sticking her nose in where it doesn't belong. But that's how they started the pre-show out. What a great way to, start the show out, get things rolling, get the blood pumping. But let me tell you how they started the pay-per-view out, folks. They started it out with a bang, and that's right. Drew McIntyre taking on Goldberg for the championship, and what not a better way to get you even more pumped up by bringing back the world favorite, Goldberg. That's right. I was pumped. I was thinking in my head, we're going to see something short, because we always have here recently, as Goldberg has came back to wrestle more than once, obviously, as you all might know. And I was just hoping that we would get a little bit longer than 30-second match. And we did. We actually got about 8 moves in 2 minutes. But let me just state this. It started out hot and heavy. Drew McIntyre starting out with a headbutt on Goldberg. It rolled outside. Goldberg then spears McIntyre through the barrier, gets back in the ring, and the bell rings and the match starts. What a way to actually, get it going. a little outside brawl. Take care of that before the actual match starts. Let's keep the rest of it inside those ropes and do what we're supposed to do. And they did there. But it didn't work out too well in the end for old Goldberg, as Drew McIntyre, not only after a couple spears and a jackhammer, he comes out on top after the big boot to Goldberg to retain the title and maintain heading into WrestleMania and what now looks like maybe the head dog of could be who might challenge Drew McIntyre after this Rumble going forward. But great way to start the pay-per-view. I wasn't expecting the heavyweight title to be on the line right off the bat, and it was, but it was a good match. Quick, easy, simple. I have nothing bad to say about that. After that, they followed it up with another championship match, and Sasha Banks putting her belt on the line against Carmella with Reginald. And this match here had it all, including Reginald obviously getting involved once again, but Sasha Banks coming out on top, and she just basically dominated Carmella this match. And this time, Reggie was no help. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do with these two going forward, as now I feel, we've seen this once, no reason to see it twice. I know Carmella has had a pretty solid run up to this point, but she just has not been on the winning side when it comes to winning these bigger matches. And I think that maybe this could be the end run for her, but we'll see. We'll keep a close eye on that. I would love to see a lot more Reginald. Let me know what you guys think out there in E's and B's land. If you think that this Reginald is actually going to turn into a decent wrestler, or if it's just going to be an acrobatic act, and we kind of seen the best of him already. Anyhow, keeping it moving here. After that, that's what I was talking about earlier. They kind of got that tag match started on the pre-show early, because after the Sasha and Carmella match, it was time for the women's Royal Rumble, and this did not disappoint. I was afraid it was going to be a little bland. I was expecting a couple extra people that did not show up, one being Taya Valkyrie, but they did bring in some good names. Obviously, we did not see Becky did not show up, so, they kind of kept the more bigger surprises, I think, for later on in the evening for the men's side. But I just want to note here, the winner of the women's Royal Rumble was Bianca Belair, and if you go back to last week on the podcast in the Scrambled Eggs section, that's right, your host, that's me, Eddie B, predicting it right. I got it right, folks. I predicted her to win this thing. I had that phony feeling. She came in number 3, so she was in there for almost an hour. A very solid women's Rumble this year. I enjoyed every minute of it. It came down to Bayley, Naomi, and Charlotte, and obviously Bianca. And Bianca getting the huge win, showing a lot of emotion afterwards as she pointed to the WrestleMania sign. I think big things are yet to come for her. Look out. I can't wait. Congratulations to her. And like I said, this was a decent women's Royal Rumble match. Go back and check it out if you have not seen it. It's worth it. This whole card was really great, believe it or not. And I have been a little stiff lately on some of the WWE product or pay-per-view events, if you've been listening. But I must say, this one here, it held to its own, and it had all the surprises, and it had all the stuff that you wanted to see in a wrestling match, including some of the goofy comedy that some people like or dislike. So, if you haven't seen it, like I said, go back and check that out. After that, we got what we were waiting for, folks. It was the last man standing match between Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens, and for Roman Reigns, he's hoping this would be the last time dealing with this, but I don't know. After what I've seen on this match, I think this feud continues going forward, maybe even into Mania season, as obviously my prediction of The Rock and the feud with Rock coming in with Roman Reigns, it might be a little far-fetched for now. Maybe in the future, we'll see. But anyhow, this match had it all, as obviously it was a last man standing match. I loved every minute of it. The only thing I'm going to dog a little bit about is when they went to the back and they actually started pulling some, I don't know, I won't say they're stealing some ideas, because we all know that we could just start going back to the history and saying you stole this and you stole that when we compare things. But what I want to say is they utilized a golf cart and a forklift, which we all know has been done recently within the last year on AEW by Sammy Guevara and Matt Hardy, and it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I felt like this match was going so great that they didn't need to utilize those two things. They obviously utilized the screen on the stage, before and stuff like that, utilized the teleprompters where the fake crowd is at. You know, they utilized all that stuff, and I love that. But when they brought in the golf cart and the forklift, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Don't get me wrong, it still ended up being a great match, except for there was a little botch at the end. As you all know, last man standing, you got to be on the ground for the count of 10 to be considered the loser. And Kevin Owens had a trick up his sleeve. He brought out the handcuffs and handcuffed Roman Reigns to a structural figure that was outside of the ring. Therefore, being that Roman was so low, he wouldn't be able to stand, and he was handcuffed. Well, obviously, they had it set up where Paul Heyman was supposed to come in and unhandcuff Roman and before the 10 count. Well, things got a little out of hand. As Paul Heyman came in to save the day, I don't know if his fat fingers got in the way or what the issue was, but he could not get the cuffs off. They had to do a little audible, and the ref had to kind of stop his count. It was a little skittish, but not bad. Like I said, not bad. This match still was a solid match. Roman Reigns actually getting to come to his feet. And then what surprised me the most was the way they ended it. And it just ended with a choke out, which obviously is a great way for the last standing part. But what I was more surprised was it kind of went sour when the handcuff thing didn't work out. And obviously we're all in limbo wanting to know what's going to happen next. And it went from that to a choke out. Just a little softer of an ending in my opinion, but obviously I think the right man won, and that was Roman Reigns getting the huge win before WrestleMania. So we'll keep an eye, like I said, on that storyline going forward, if it's going to pursue more towards Mania, or if maybe Kevin Owens maybe has seen his last day with the Uso family. We'll see. After that, it was the main event, guys. It was the Men's Rumble, what everyone was waiting for, myself included. Like I said, this whole card kind of kept me intrigued. It didn't, dull out at very many moments, and if there was a dull moment, it was picked right back up with a great one after that. But let me tell you how the Rumble started, folks. It started out with the Rated R Superstar drawing number one, coming out number one. I was so hyped, ready, glad to see him back, but wouldn't you know it, number two coming out, Randy Orton. And boy, did they get things started. The rivalry kicked right back in. As we all know, they feuded way back after last year, going into Mania, and some injuries happened. The storyline came to an halt. That's why we're dealing with the Randy Orton fire situation with Fiend. But this feud right here could be picked up any day, any time. It's that great. And it started out right away. Obviously, those two guys drawing 1 and 2 was great. Randy Orton goes a little bit into this Rumble as some people came in, gets in the injury from the situations going on outside of the ring, and is helped to the back. And I noted to Lauren, I said, hey, he's not out. You watch, he's coming back at the end. And lo and behold, I was correct. Randy Orton tried to sneak his way back in at the end of the Rumble. But before we get to that, I want to talk just a little bit about some crazy things that happened, or should I say some cool people that got, reintroduced to some of the old fans and new fans. And that was the greats of like Christian. That's right, folks. Christian made an appearance, and I was not expecting it. He lasted a very long time. He looked very good in the ring. A lot of people blowing up on social media as maybe the best re-entrant to the Rumble, but let me tell you just a couple more. We had Carlito coming in. Carlito had just showed up at Legends recently, but Legends Night, that is. But here, looking very buff. Looked like a completely different person. Obviously the same gimmick, same person, but he looking great. And he lasted a little while in the ring, and it was pretty cool to see, some people give him some respect while being tossed around in there. Another one that really shocked me was Hurricane Helms. That's right, Shane Helms making another reappearance. He was just on Impact a few months back on one of their pay-per-views. Also on an AEW pay-per-view. Now he's on a WWE. He's just hitting them all. Good for you, Sugar Hurricane Helm. That's for sure. And then the last one I want to talk about, the one that really shocked me, was the Big Red Machine, Kane. Kane making a reappearance to the Rumble. Now stretching his streak out to, I do believe it's 18 appearances, 17 consecutive. That's huge. And it wasn't a quick wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Kane went in there and did some work. There was some great spots with him. There was some great spots with all these guys, including some good comedy from Hurricane Helms as he, did some of his old skit stuff in the ring. it worked out great. If you did not see it, folks, go back, check it out. The Royal Rumble this year was worth watching. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, Kane just manhandling people. Hurricane Helms with a little bit of comedy in there. It worked out great. But in the end, the man that drew number one was the winner, folks. Breaking a new in-ring record. Edge. Now going to WrestleMania and has his decision on who he wants to choose, folks. Is it going to be Drew McIntyre? Or is it going to be Roman Reigns? We're going to keep our eyes peeled. Folks, this was a great Rumble. That's the Rumble wrap-up I got for you. Coming up next, I got a little bit of Aces Wild Talk. And then after that, we're going to dive into this week's guest coming from OVW. We're going to talk Tough Love going down tomorrow night. Davis Arena, Louisville, Kentucky. Don't miss that, folks. It's going to be great. But I got Josh Ashcraft coming up next to talk about that in just a minute. So stay tuned. We'll dive into the Aces Wild and then Josh Ashcraft. But you're listening to the E's and B's podcast. Keeping it rolling here on the sunny side up. Let's dive into a little bit of the Aces Wild Rocky Mountain Pro pay-per-view that went down last Saturday on Twitch. And here's a surprise for you. I was there, folks. That's right. I got to attend this event. It was an amazing, and I really mean this, amazing event. So much action, action-packed. It was obviously casino-themed. You know, they had the big wheel on the screen. Every match had a stipulation. They also had the Aces Wild tournament going down to determine the number one contender to take on my man, the champion, Dustin Urich. And it was great to be there, let me tell you, folks. And I was praying for a Big Filth Dog and Damon Ace matchup. And let me tell you what, folks, I got it. But not that being the biggest highlight of the night, we had Lipto running Wreck Shop all the way through the tournament to the finals to go up against Damon Ace. And now Damon Ace and Dustin Urich are a group together in the wake. So I was kind of curious what was going to be the outcome, but Lipto shocking everybody, coming out with the big win, and now the number one contender for my man Dustin. So going to keep my eyes on that. They also had another great match between Jumbo Zamore and the boss himself, Bruce Wayans, and it was a chain match, folks, a chain match. And they, were strapped each chain to each wrist, and I wasn't sure exactly how this was going to go down myself, but they did an excellent job. It was action-packed, couple big bumps, involved with the boss and Jumbo, but in the end, Jumbo could not overcome the boss. The boss will maintain and hold on to the Charge Championship moving forward, but it was a great match to watch in person. I mean, that chain wasn't no light chain. You know, I spoke with Bruce afterwards, and he was telling me that thing was so heavy, and by the end of the match, they both were, obviously being as safe as possible with it, but it was weighing them down and getting to them at the end there. But cool to see, they did it very well. And obviously in this chain match, you had to touch all four corners, old school style, and that's what I love, and they did it very, very well. And if you guys have not seen this, go back, make sure you check it out on their Twitch channel. That's Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling, the best wrestling on Twitch. I promise you. They got some great hosts and a lot of great commentators, Kelly Dowdy and Titus, keeping you involved, making you feel like you're actually there with them in person. They're great at what they do. But also this night we saw a crazy match in the Lockets division. Rochelle Riveter putting her belt up against Lola. If you don't know Lola, she's kind of a Dora the Explorer ripoff, in my opinion. Crazy gimmick. She does it very well. But this match was a backpack match. That's right, folks. A backpack match. Yes, that kind of goes with the Dora theme. I think that's kind of why they brought this into the situation. It was kind of cool to see in the end, Rochelle Riveter, she's the mom. At least that's what she calls herself on her Twitter handle and things. But she had her backpack loaded with some baby formula and stuff. Hey, I can't say that's not against the rules. They didn't say don't load your backpack. She gets the win, keeps the Lockets title. Another great gimmick match that they performed in front of no fans, in front of myself, but in front of no one, and it was done very, very well. Also, one more thing I want to touch on. The Twitch Championship held by Chongo Bronson. It was on the line that night in a, it was an evening gown dress match, if you might say. And he was going up against, somebody that was very familiar with this kind of outfit. The bearded lady from the Three Ring Circus. In this match, folks, it was intense. But in the end, the title did change hands, and now the Three Ring Circus hold a gold belt in their little faction. Bearded Lady coming up with a huge win over Chongo Bronson. We'll have to see what goes forward with this storyline. They got a lot of great things coming up at Rocky Mountain Pro, folks. Make sure you stay tuned with them. Follow them on Twitch. I know there's a couple tapings coming up here in a couple weeks. I'll keep you posted on that. I know they got some great things coming out as well. Maybe some fans coming back. Who knows yet? We'll find out very, very soon. But it was great to be there. I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Scotty Long and Matt Yaden for allowing me to attend this event. So much great stuff was going on. JK Pop, they're obviously the longest reigning tag team champions. They were involved in an awesome match against Bud Bellflower's other half of the Three Ring Circus, Mr. Happy and Monster 9. They did not come up with the tag belts, JK Pop holding them and continuing their legacy there at Rocky Mountain Pro. But yeah, I just want to thank everybody. They treated me so well. The hospitality was great. Every wrestler that I spoke with, I thank you so much, and I can't wait to get back. We got a lot more coming from them guys, and I promise you folks it's going to be even bigger and better once things start straightening out. So keep your eyes tuned for that. That's Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling on Twitch. Give them a shout out. Tell them E's and B's sent you. Hey, we're going to wrap up Sunny Side Up real quick here. We got just one more thing to talk about before we jump into the big interview here on the meat segment with OVW's Josh Ashcraft. All right, folks, last thing I want to talk about before we wrap up the Sunny Side Up was what went down Wednesday night on AEW Dynamite. That was the beach break, folks. And this wasn't even a pay-per-view. This was just a scheduled event they've been building for a couple weeks. We knew Britt Baker Thunder Rosa match was in there. Obviously, Kenny Omega teaming up with the Good Brothers from Impact against Jon Moxley, Pac, and Rey Fenix was, the headline main event. But let me just say this. They had a bunch of other things added into the show, which made it so amazing. And I left, Wednesday night after this show was over, my seat thinking, that was pay-per-view worthy. That was a great way to do the tag team battle royal, and that's what they started the night out with, folks. Number one contendership on the line. If the Young Bucks did not win the match, the people or the tag team that won would get a number one contendership match at Revolution coming up at their next pay-per-view. But this little Rumble that they started, Battle Royal they started out with was just as good as the Rumble on Sunday. And that's my opinion, but, there was a lot of spot-worthy stuff. They did separate the ring several times to get the spots in, but there was just, it wasn't very sloppy. We had the Good Brothers stick their nose in, even though they weren't in the little battle royal, stick their nose in trying to distract up the private party situation, which they've got going on over at Impact. And it kind of backfired on them with their little Too Sweet Bullet Club. And the Young Bucks got eliminated, which, eliminated the fact that if they won, they would be able to pick who they wanted to wrestle at Revolution. So, all in all, this was a great match. Now, coming down to the end of it, I'm pretty sure, folks, it was supposed to be MJF, Sammy Guevara, Chris Jericho, and Jungle Boy. But Jungle Boy was looked like he was trying to skin the cat on a earlier part where he was just trying to be, wrestled with on the outside. And he fell and landed. And when he fell, he immediately rolled over and covered his face like it wasn't supposed to happen. And in the end, it was MJF, Chris Jericho, Sammy, and Acclaimed member. But the Acclaimed member I felt like was out of place. So, the storyline didn't meet up to me. But the way it ended is I think how they really wanted it to end, which obviously is leading to a huge feud between Sammy Guevara and the Inner Circle. We know it's going to happen. Eventually, it's going to explode. And here's my prediction, and you're getting it live right here on E's and B's podcast. I think in the future, we're going to see Sammy Guevara with FTW, Team Taz, probably teaming up with Ricky Starks, or maybe still staying solo. But I think the ship jumping from Sammy is coming very soon. Stay tuned. We're going to keep our eyes out. But anyhow, this is how that started the night out at Beach Break on AEW. A great way to start the night out, in my opinion. A lot of good action in that first little, battle royal. After that, they followed it up with, like I talked about, the match we've been waiting for, Britt Baker taking on Thunder Rosa. Now, we know this feud's been boiling for a long time, but it boiled over this night. And, man, I'm going to tell you, it looked like there was a little bit more stiffness than expected in this match. Thunder Rosa throwing some nasty missile drop kicks in the corner to Britt in the face. I think she kneed her one time. Like, it looked like she was a little more stiffer than Britt was expecting. But in the end, Rebel sticking her nose in, tearing off the corner number 2 turnbuckle, exposing the metal. Britt Baker throwing Thunder Rosa into it. And let me just say this. If you haven't seen it, go back, check it out. Thunder Rosa, looked knocked out. I don't think she really was knocked out in real life, but let me tell you, she acted this perfectly. Obviously Britt Baker gets the hold on. They don't even need to have to make her submit because she's supposedly knocked out. That's how great of an acting job she was doing. But afterwards, Britt Baker, celebrates. It's a great match. A great way to put her over, in my opinion. But I don't think this is the end of that feud. We'll see what's going forward with these two girls because we know that the women's number 1 contendership tournament will be starting very soon. They announced that on this night where they're going to have a Japan side and a USA side. And then obviously we'll meet in the middle to see who will be the first number 1 contender to take on Shida. But I think this Thunder Rosa Britt Baker thing will advance in the future. I hope so because this was an awesome women's match and a perfect placement on this card, in my opinion. After that, we had Hangman and Matt Hardy, and we know Big Money Hardy's been trying to buy his way into a lot of things lately, especially, taking advantage of Private Party. But that night he teamed up with Hangman, and they get a really nice win over Chaos Project. But in the end, Hardy pulls his antics that he pulled the last time with Private Party, as they did all the work, and then Hardy tags himself in to get the pin and the celebration for the victory. Now, Hangman didn't agree too much with this, but all in all, we'll see what happens with this storyline going forward. I'm not sure if they're looking for something to do with Hangman or if this is the direction they've always wanted to go. I'll keep a close eye on that, and we'll talk about it maybe next week, see what happens on Dynamite for next Wednesday. After that, it was the Lumberjack match between last week's big main event, Lance Archer, Eddie Kingston, and this one did not disappoint as well. Obviously we had the heel and kind of, I guess, face Lumberjacks, but really, if you want to be honest, it was a bunch of just heels, some faces mixed in. They did this pretty well. Obviously, Jake the Snake getting involved again. He did not get beat up this week, but he did throw a punch on the outside and fell, and I don't think that was planned. Pretty scary moment in my eyes because, that guy he's teetering that borderline of he shouldn't maybe be out there, in my opinion. But this match was a great match, great action. Lance Archer showcasing what he can do inside and outside the ring. He gets the huge win over Eddie Kingston. Butcher and Blade was no effect in this evening to help. So kind of crazy to see that. The Butcher and Blade and Bunny trying to help, but it did not work out finally. And Lance Archer getting the win. Pretty great match. A lot of good things to say about Lance Archer and Eddie Kingston. These are two great talents that I think they need to keep pushing and pushing. I kind of think that maybe Lance Archer could be the leader of the Dark Order, in my opinion, and get that thing back on track. But what do you guys think out there? I think it's time they make a move. I don't know. I'm not sure how much longer we're going to be able to withstand the comedy of Dark Order side. But, I hope for a lot longer than everybody expects, that's for sure. But anyways, let's talk about the main event. And it was the match we all were waiting for, folks. Kenny Omega, the Good Brothers, taking on Jon Moxley, Rey Fenix, and Pac. Kind of a mixed match there, but this was 6 great talents in one ring. And, they did not disappoint. This was great action. Several great spots. Not as much as, I guess, 2 weeks ago, I should say. But this was a lot of good spots between the boys in the ring. All in all, a great back-and-forth beatdown. But the Good Brothers outsmarting the Rey Fenix, Jon Moxley, and Pac combo. And Kenny Omega, in the end, getting the one-winged angel after a gruesome beatdown, I might add. This was a great match, folks. I'm not a big fan of six-mans. You guys know that. I preach that a lot on here. But this was a good one, put together well. In the end, the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega getting the huge win, and then, of course, afterwards trying to help his friend back out. Jon Moxley coming in the ring and attacking the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega, but it didn't last long. They started beating down Jon Moxley. Then we get the music of Lance Archer coming to help. Lance Archer, we have not seen help Jon Moxley, so this is a different angle. As I spoke earlier, I wasn't sure what the direction they're going to go on Lance, but he comes out to help. Things shake out a little bit, and then out of the crowd, out of nowhere, a man with a hood, a mask, and all covering hopped in the ring. Wasn't sure who it was. Lo and behold, it's New Japan's Kenta. That's right. And if you're not familiar with Kenta and Jon Moxley right now are in a huge feud going back and forth as Jon Moxley is the IGWP US champion and Kenta wants that belt back. And just about a week ago, Moxley went on New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong and jumped Kenta on their own show. So I feel like this was a little bit of payback. And it went great. And, it caught a lot of people off guard. We've seen the numbers. AEW, almost 900,000 people to NXT's barely busting 600. So things are starting to shake out a little bit different as the spring is coming, folks. I think these guys are putting together way better programs weekly. And after the show went off air on Twitter following this event, they had a little clip on AEW's Twitter handle where it showed Kenny Omega chasing down Kenta in the parking lot and was like, "Hey, yo, bro," kind of talking to him, "Hey, buddy," and Kenta, using some explicit language, told him, "Hey, basically, we're not friends, bro," and that leads into what I will talk about here in a little bit on the scrambled egg segment. So stay tuned for that because I don't know about this Bullet Club beef if it's true or not, but Omega ends the little clip by saying he's going to smooth things over with Kenta. And lo and behold, we have planned for next week Jon Moxley teaming up with Lance Archer to go up against Kenny Omega and Kenta. Stay tuned, folks. That's going to be an amazing match. All four of these gentlemen have worked together in Japan already together, previously. So they know each other well. So I'll be interested to see what kind of match they put together. I can't wait. And also, like I said, stay tuned coming up after Josh Ashcraft here from OVW coming up in the meat segment. We'll talk in the scrambled egg segment a little bit about that beef that's going to be going down, or that has been going down, I should say, in this Bullet Club. Or is this really a Bullet Club thing, or what's going on? We'll stay tuned and find out next, my opinion. You're listening to the E's and B's podcast. All right, folks, as promised this week from OVW, he's the leader of the legacy of brutality. In his own words, the only fair fight is the one that he wins. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Josh Ashcraft. How's it going, my man?
Gentlemen, what is up? What's going on, man? How you doing?
Great to have you here on this beautiful Friday. We got a lot to talk about today, but before we do, how are things out there in Kentucky?
Things out here in Kentucky are chilly, but things are going to heat up real quick tomorrow night at the Davis Arena for OVW's Tough Love pay-per-view.
That's right. I can't wait. Big event going down tomorrow night, as he says. But before we talk about Tough Love, Josh, how about let's get into a little bit about yourself and tell my friend or my listeners and my friends out there, how'd you get your start in wrestling?
Man, I grew up here in Louisville, Kentucky. I was a fan of professional wrestling for about as long as I can remember. And having OVW here in Louisville really kind of gave me my own hometown, homegrown, something that I could achieve, something that I could attain, if that makes sense.
Sure.
I figured if I ever wanted to make it to a higher level, that's where I would need to get my start. And I just happened to show up almost 10 years ago, this month actually, showed up to OVW and got lucky enough to help start setting up the ring and then selling T-shirts and yada, yada. Things move along, and here I am. I've done just about everything.
Awesome. Well, as you know, here on the E's and B's, we love to shine the light on you guys that are, in the lower indie leagues and stuff like that and get to know a little bit about you. So that's great. You've been around for about 10 years. So obviously you've seen a lot of different things, but let me ask you this. Tell my listeners out there, who's your favorite wrestler of all time?
Oh man, that is a tough question. That's gonna be a multifaceted answer. I'm gonna have to say Stan Hansen, Bruiser Brody, Punk, Shawn Michaels, and if I have to pick a fifth, you know what? I'm gonna go a little bit outside of the box, and people really aren't gonna expect this one, but Shane Helms.
Okay, yeah, Hurricane Helms, man, great
Shane
mind,
Helms,
very great mind,
great mind, and a great hand in the ring, dude. Awesome brother too, real cool guy. Every chance I've gotten to interact with him, it's always fun, and you learn something, and that's what I love.
Awesome, yeah, and we just saw him make an appearance just this last weekend at the Rumble. That was cool to see.
Yes, we did.
You're never too old. That's what I keep telling everybody. You're never too old. Well, hey, let's switch gears a little bit. We talk a lot of breakfast here on the E's and B's as it's breakfast related.
I'm all right with it.
Let's say this. You're making breakfast tomorrow for a wrestler or wrestling personality. Who's it going to be, and what are you guys going to have?
Ooh, okay. That's a good one. I am going to make breakfast for Samoa Joe.
Okay.
We're going to have smoked sausage, bacon, country-style ham, scrambled eggs with cheese and gravy on the side, and we're going to play original NES games while we do it.
Nice, man. I'd love to be a fly on the wall just to witness that. That's for sure. And that right there is a healthy, hearty breakfast, my friends. That's for sure.
Yes, it is.
Well, hey, Josh, tell my listeners out there, what's your favorite thing about OVW?
Oh man. Honestly, I would say the history. Like, I went to my first OVW show in '99 at the Louisville Gardens, and then started going to the old building over on Mechanic Street in Jeffersonville, Indiana, when I was in high school, around 2001, 2002. When we moved to the new building, excuse me, it's one thing about the Ohio Valley, man. Allergies are a son of a bitch. We moved into the new building where we're currently at now, the Davis Arena, 4400 Shepherdsville Road in Louisville, Kentucky. And I was actually, if you go back and watch that show, I am front row center on hard cam for the entire thing. Okay. So going from a kid that sat in the crowd at OVW and watched all of the names that have come through up until this point, and now being someone that is featured and has wrestled in main events on the show and managed in main events and been one of the focal points, it's surreal. So that history there and being part of it by leading the Legacy of Brutality to the longest reigning consecutive and combined tag team title reign in OVW history is really, really cool.
Yes, and I agree. And the history with OVW, like you said, it goes way, way back. And like you said, to be part of it, being a fan first and then being in that ring now, that's definitely a wrestler's dream, and you're living it. That's cool stuff, Josh. Well, as we keep things moving here on the E's and B's, I got a few more questions for you, and then I'll turn the tables over to you so we can talk a little tough love. Going down tomorrow night, like you said, Davis Arena, don't miss it. Make sure you guys go out there, figure out how to watch it. I know it's going to be on Fight TV, right? And also...
yes, I believe so.
Go ahead.
I think we're on Fight. It may or may not be on our Amazon Prime channel. And you can always go to the OVW Wrestling Network and get the links from there. And ovwrestling.com, of course.
Absolutely. Well, hey, Josh, let me ask you this one. If you could change anything about wrestling, what would it be?
Honestly, I would change the business in the benefit of the boys as far as like what AEW is doing with, office roles and health insurance, vacation, paid time off. I would try to actually treat the business like a business. Like if I could do it, that's what I would do.
Okay.
Make it to where everyone from, top to bottom, depending on where you're at, you're taken care of just like any other major corporation.
Right. And the reason I ask is it's always nice to know maybe a little bit from the inside, you know what I'm saying? Like hearing your thoughts on that, like what you want to change. Because, you got the armchair CEOs or bookers like myself, that say they would love to see so many different things, but to hear it from the actual wrestler, it goes a little bit farther, in my opinion. And that's why we ask, what would you want to change? And that's, why?
Sure.
So,
oh yeah.
And that makes 100%, sense why you say that. Being a wrestler, you want the best benefits, you want the best of the best. And when you're putting in this kind of effort and time and money, you want a little bit of return. And I get it.
Well, and I understand that we are independent contractors, and I get that. I understand the transient nature of the business, so to speak. You come in, you're paid to do a job, you do that job, and when that job's over, you move on to the next one.
Right.
I get that. But at the same time, if I'm going to dedicate and spend my life, my time, I've 10 years of your life doing something, it's in any other business, you'd, be rewarded with, you've been an employee for so long.
Right.
Which I'm not saying anything bad about it. OVW has treated me extremely well over the time that I've been there. But just as a whole, I think that AEW, with what they're doing, with their talent and how they're offering things to them, is really the way the business needs to go, because one day we're not going to be able to take bumps, and some of us don't have college degrees. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So rather than be another, another disappointing, retirement, so to speak, for some wrestler, let's give them something to do, give them something that they can hang their hat on and not turn to a life of, bad stuff.
Absolutely. Something to be proud of. I get you. Definitely. All right. Well, as we keep things going here, Josh, like I said, just a couple more. Let's change the pace just a little bit here. I'm going into Barnes and Nobles tomorrow to buy a book of your life. What's the name of it?
What's the rating on this show?
Open door.
All right, so then I've got to. I would have to steal one from the show Californication, punching and fucking.
All right. Little more than PG, but that's all right with me. Hey, keeping the things going here. Here's another crazy one. Now, this one I go back and forth on because I have so many favorites, but I want to know what yours is. If you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what is it going to be?
That is tough. Buffalo chicken in any way, shape, or form.
Okay. I didn't see that coming.
I'm weird, dude. Like, I'll order Wingstop and get like a 7-piece tender thing, and then just grab some tortillas out of the fridge and just wrap one or two up, and then I've got food for like the next couple of days. I'm like, hell yeah.
Nice.
Quick and easy, bro.
Yes, sir. See me, I was a toss back and forth between like French fries or steak, and then like, am I allowed to have dipping sauces? Or
yeah, you know what? You're right.
So, I definitely get what
options we have.
Yeah, right. All right, man. I got two more for you, and we'll turn the tables over for you. What's your favorite match all time?
Wow, favorite match of all time. You know what? Might be kind of controversial, but it's one that I actually refereed, and I don't know if there's even video of it anymore, but it was Mike Mondo's last match in OVW against Rafael Constantine. It was a dark main event. It was supposed to go like 10, and they wound up going 30 because it was Mondo's last match, and they were just out there having a ball. Just trading holds, rolling around, joking, having fun. It was a blast to be a part of. If I'm going to pick one to watch, though, I'm going to have to say probably Eddie Guerrero and JBL from Judgment Day 2005, I think it was. The one that rivals, anything else on the Muda scale for blood. Yeah. Just for the simple fact that the emotion that Eddie gives during that match, like once everything starts kind of going sideways and he's bleeding everywhere, and it's like, you know what, it just, that is the definition of another gear. Like, he just switched gears, and everything felt like from that point on it just kept ramping till the finish. I love watching that match.
Yes, I can totally agree, and definitely one that has not been brought up on my show, so I'm glad you did bring that up. I hope my listeners go out there and check that out on the WWE Network. And I would love to see that last match that you got to ref there, Mondo's fight. That would be pretty good to see. I will have to dig in and maybe find that somewhere, hopefully on the internet.
You know what? I might have to talk to one of my production guys tonight and see if I can get myself a copy of that.
Well, if you do, swing one my way. I'd love to see it. That's for sure.
Definitely.
All right,
Definitely.
man. It's been an honor to have you on here. I got one more for you, and then I'm going to turn it over to you. This one, be honest with me. What are your top 3 podcasts on your list today that you're listening
top 3
to?
on the list. Talking Shop, because I'm an old school Talking Shop Mark from back in the day, from their first run when they were doing it in Japan.
Yeah.
I would have to say probably the Ringside Podcast. Daniel Spencer hosts, one of our officials, our head referee down at OVW. And I guess it'd be the Steve Austin show, because honestly, I don't really listen to a whole lot of podcasts, man.
Okay.
I do a lot of audiobooks,
Awesome.
and random trivia stuff on YouTube. So if I'm doing a drive, I will turn on the most amazing top 10 and just chuck the phone in the passenger seat and just listen to it through the speakers, stuff like that.
Gotcha. Well, that's cool. I agree. Those are some great podcasts to listen to. But hey, let's get to what we wanted to get to from the get-go, and that's what's going down tomorrow night, Davis Arena, Tough Love, OVW style. Josh, what can you tell my listeners out there about it?
Tomorrow night at Tough Love at the Davis Arena, you're going to have the opportunity to see the Legacy of Brutality do what it does best. Lay waste to any and every one that stands in our path. Tony Gunn and Jesse Goddard have stuck their nose in the LOB's business for way too long. And now Omar Amir has an issue. Brother, I don't know who peed in your Wheaties, but it wasn't the LOB. But you want to come at us like this? All right, fair enough. You saw what happened this past week on TV when Cash Flow and Omar Amir went to battle in the ring. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to see destruction. Not only do we have that giant 6-man main event with Cash, Big Steve Michaels, and Big Zoe taking on those 3 goons, Isaiah is going to get back what is rightfully his, and that is the OVW Rush Division Championship that was unjustly stolen from the Legacy of Brutality due to outside interference. So Saturday night, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be able to witness not only the mauling of a pretty boy, a BB gun, and a champion, if you want to call him that, and you're going to get to witness Isaiah regaining that Rush title. Dude, it's going to be a great night for the LOB.
Awesome stuff, man. I can't wait to see it going down tomorrow night. Tough Love in the Davis Arena. Josh, man, it's been an honor and a pleasure to have you on my show. I can't wait to have you back, and I can't wait to get over there to Kentucky and see you guys, get caught up on some events live in person. But until next time, brother, I appreciate it, man. You got anything?
I appreciate you.
Before I let you go, brother, is there anybody out there or anything you'd like to push?
Yeah, man. Make sure that you're checking out OVW on all of our social media accounts. You can follow me on Twitter at Josh Ashcraft, on Facebook and Instagram at Josh Ashcraft 86. Make sure that you guys are checking out our sister promotion out there in Colorado, RMP, Rocky Mountain Pro. They have got some of the best up-and-coming talent in the business right now. And I'm not just saying that. I was watching their show the other night, the Aces Wild pay-per-view, and, man, legitimately, I was blown away. Some of the guys and girls they have out there, the LOB, we've always got our eyes on our competition.
Awesome.
So if I can end this on anything, it's this. Take one thing away. Remember that no matter what it is that you do, 90% of your job is teaching. So anything that you have learned from either this podcast, any podcast, or anything in the business, make sure you're pushing that and you're giving that knowledge, you're teaching that next generation so that we've got something to do.
Absolutely. Can't say it any better myself. Thanks again, Josh. And until next time, make sure you follow Josh Ashcraft. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's right. Well. Josh Ashcraft from OVW. What a great interview. Glad to have him on the show. If you, like he said, if you're not busy tomorrow night, check it out. Tough Love going down. It's going to be a good show. I'm excited to check it out. I'll report back on it next week, let you know what I thought of it. and let you know what happened, because it's definitely going to be one of their better shows starting the year off for sure, and I can't wait to report on it. But hey, let's get right into the scrambled egg segment this week. I got just a few things to talk about. I'll be bringing Lauren in just a few minutes to get into the toast to let you know what we got going on, her numbers, and all the good stuff going for next week. But here on the Scrambles, we're going to make a prediction of the Super Bowl. We're going to talk a little bit about baseball and football trades that went down here recently. And then, like I just preached about on the sunny side up, I got a little bit of beef talk. That's right, the Bullet Club not seeing eye to eye, and I want to know what your thoughts are out there in E's and B's land, so we'll get to that here in just a minute, but let's talk about the Super Bowl, as we spoke earlier with Dan Jacobs live from Tampa down there reporting for 103 Point The Fan. That's right, folks, he and I both believe that this is going to be a great game, and I'm going to tell you right here, my predictions. I'm taking Tampa 34 over the Chiefs 31 on Sunday. I think that the ball is going to be put in Tom Brady's hands with too much time on the clock at the end of the game, and it's going to be all he needs to get over that hump to get his next Super Bowl ring. So that's my predictions here on E's and B's. I'm taking the Buccaneers 34 over the Chiefs 31 this Sunday. We'll see what happens. I hope it's a good one. Let me know what your predictions are, folks. And like I said, make sure you stay tuned this weekend. We're going to have a YouTube video coming up for the Daytona 500, which is going down next Sunday. And there's going to be a chance to win, folks, an E's and B's shirt or a wrestling shirt, which one of your choice. All you got to do is make sure you check that video out. Follow all the rules in the video, and you could win yourself an E's and B's prize. Just stay tuned for that. But keeping it rolling here on the Scrambled Eggs, folks, how about the crazy trades that have been happening not only in baseball, but NFL themselves? Let's talk NFL first. I know we spoke last week. I didn't know how long he was going to be in Detroit. Well, it wasn't very long after we spoke. He got traded. That's right. Matt Stafford traded to the Los Angeles Rams, and in exchange, the Rams giving the Detroit Lions their quarterback, Jared Goff. I don't know if that's an equal trade in my opinion. Two different style quarterbacks. Jared Goff, very young. Matt Stafford, maybe at the peak or the downfall of his career, in my opinion. A lot of talk here in Denver was they kind of wanted Stafford. They thought he was their guy maybe to go after. They're not sold on Drew Lock. And this shook out, and we all know the Watson story, as I spoke with a little bit earlier also with Dan Jacobs. That situation's a little shaky in itself. We know he spoke, and he's definitely wanting out of Houston. But with this trade, it shakes out a lot of different scenarios now. And, people may be scrambling a little bit more now that this move has been made. I can't wait to see what happens with Watson. Like I said earlier, I pray that he does not go to the Dolphins. No offense. I think he's a great quarterback. I think that, he could do great things in Miami. But with the pressure that he's going to have by coming out and doing this, I think this next season is going to be very tough on that young man. And we'll keep our eyes peeled and see what happens. But that's my prediction. After that, let's talk a little bit about the baseball trade of the century. That's right. That's what I call it. Probably the biggest and dumbest move I've ever seen. That's going to have to be Nolan Arenado getting traded to the St. Louis Cardinals last weekend, folks. And I'm not just saying that because I'm here in Colorado. I think if you're a baseball fan, you would agree with me out there. This trade made absolutely, positively no sense. Yes, we know the frustrations with Arenado and Bridich in Colorado were a big issue, last season. And they've come off of two struggling seasons before they went to two playoff seasons. A huge contract signing with Nolan in 19 made him one of the highest paid players. In my opinion, he is the best third baseman in the game. I'm not saying that for homerism. I'm saying that because of the truth. He can do it all. This guy is the face of the franchise. And I sit here today, this Friday, and I'm telling you folks that the Colorado Rockies have the worst owner and an awful GM, and things will never change until these people are out of here. You just let a Hall of Fame third baseman walk. And on top of that, folks, they paid St. Louis $50 million to take Nolan. In exchange, they got 5 prospects. 1 has been on an MLB roster. The other 4 has never made an MLB roster last year or prior. I'm baffled even talking about it. This blows my mind as a baseball fan. And, I put some very heartfelt tweets out this week like, I'm done. I can't believe this organization would do something. I know that he wanted out, but, let's think back when Tulo was in the same situation. At least they tried and they got some kind of players or something out of the Tulo situation in return. This situation here, we don't know a name on that 5-man deal that we got. And on top of that, like I said, it was a salary dump. You dumped money to get rid of the best third baseman in baseball. Awful, awful, awful move for Colorado. I want to know what you guys think out there. All you baseball fans that follow us here at E's and B's, let us know what you guys think. As a fan, I feel like I said it earlier this week. They put out a presser. It was even more depressing to hear their presser after the situation because they pretty much tried to put the blame on Nolan and cover their own tracks. And in reality, folks, it's embarrassing as a Coloradoan or anybody that lives here to say that they're a Rockies fan right now, and that's honest. I could get that out of a lot of people because it really seriously was an embarrassment to this state, and I just hope things change, but I don't see them changing very soon. Their superstar shortstop Trevor Story, his contract coming up soon, and why would you not blame the guy but want to do the same exact thing, and that's get the heck out of Dodge, because this place is nothing worried about baseball besides money. That's all they care about here in Colorado as far as baseball, is building a stadium, a party deck. We're probably going to have another party deck since we got rid of Nolan. Bring the fans in. We don't care about our team. We just want you guys to come have a party. It's a pretty sad situation. I claim they shut it down and sell it. That's coming from me, Eddie B, here on the E's and B's. But, that's one thing that's going on here in Colorado with the baseball talk. We'll see what happens in the future, how Nolan does over there in St. Louis, and how these so-called prospects turn out here in Colorado. Yeah, don't hold your breath in the future for me to report on those, because I don't see that happening. Anyhow, keeping things rolling on the scrambled eggs, the last thing I got before I'm going to drag Lauren in here to talk a little bit of toast with you is the beef that's been going down on the social media waves and a little bit of the Twitch network with Bullet Club members Tama Tonga, the Good Brothers, and Kenny Omega. Yeah, shots have been fired for a couple weeks now, but things are starting to get serious. And just recently, Jay White coming back to wrestle at New Japan, he throws his 2 cents in the bowl, and he's on Tama Tonga's side, and he thinks this stuff is phony and fake. And boy, they have sent out some pretty crazy tweets. If you guys have not read or seen any of those, make sure you go back and check them out. And one of the, I quote from Tama Tonga saying this: "Desperate to say, relevant? ? Running out of ideas? ? What do you all have after this? ? Prove me wrong. No need to thank us. #Bullet Club." Right there just shows, this sounds like it's a little more deeper than just a storyline. I don't know. I know that Tama Tonga was doing the Magic Killer just last week, and then a lot of shots were fired from the Good Brothers fan club saying, hey, that's their move and you do it terribly. But I haven't heard much clapback, though, from Big LG or Carl Anderson. I'm just curious what's really going on. And then, like we spoke about a little bit earlier, the Kenta situation with Kenny Omega, which they all are part of this Bullet Club, folks. So keep your eyes peeled. If you know anything, let me hear it. Give me a shout back here at the E's and B's. I'd love to hear what you guys got to say about it. And like I said, coming up next, we're going to dive right into and wrap this thing up with Lauren. We're going to get the numbers. We're going to tell you what's coming up and tell you what to stay tuned for and on the lookout for. Because you're listening to the E's and B's podcast. All right, as we wind down the show today on this beautiful Friday, let me welcome in the number analyst, the person that keeps this thing together most of the time, everybody. It's Lauren.
Hello. Most of the time is correct. Sometimes I can't even keep myself together, so.
Well, Good morning on this awesome Friday, Lauren. We got a few things to talk about here on the toast. So everybody get out your jams, your jellies, cinnamons and sugars. It's time to spread it.
Apple butter.
All right, Lauren, we got some shout-outs to run through. A couple cool things that are going to be happening going forward. And, of course, always your numbers for the week. But first, let's give out them weekly shout-outs. I got a list a mile long here. How about let's start with today's guest, Dan Jacobs. Big shout-out to him. Thank you for coming on. It was great having him on. You know, reporting live once again from the Super Bowl, giving his thoughts on what was going to happen tomorrow, on Sunday, 2 days from now. So that was great to have him. Big shout-out to Dan Jacobs. Can't wait to have him back in the future. Also, shout-outs to Josh Ashcraft from OVW. Great to have him on. We talked tough love. Go back, check that out. It's going to be a great show coming up tomorrow night. If you have nothing better to do, folks, go online, ovw.com. You can follow the stream there and watch it live. It's going to be a good show. Big shout-out to my man Cashflow over there. Can't wait to see what he's got up his sleeve tomorrow. Also, our girl, Lauren, you know her, Hollywood Haley J. She's been doing some big things here lately on the OVW scene, so make sure you give her a follow out there in the E's and B's land. Also, big shout-out to all my RMP people. Like I said earlier, big thank you to Matt Yaden, Scotty Long for the hospitality, everything they let me do last weekend with all the talent and, you know, catching a live event. And just noted, they just announced the fans are going to be welcome back to charge tapings there at Rocky Mountain Pro, Lauren. Just a few to start with, but make sure you go online and find your way to that event. You know, they got some tapings coming up here in just a couple weeks. We'll be diving into those. Big shout out to Lipto. Great job last week. It was good to see you battle your way all the way through the tournament. Big shout out to Big Filt Dog, Damon Ace, my man, the champion, Dustin Urich, and also Bruce Wayans and JK Pop. Big shout out to those guys too. So keep your eyes out for Rocky Mountain Pro, Lauren. It's getting hot over there. Can't wait. Also, Lauren, I want to give a big shout out or a big thing that we noticed coming up, or that we're going to have coming up this weekend. It's the Daytona 500 giveaway, and we're going to be giving away a E's and B's shirt or your choice of maybe a wrestling shirt. All you got to do, Lauren, is make sure they follow the YouTube rules. E's and B's and all of the rules of the video, so stay tuned for that. Lauren and I will be putting that together maybe this evening. It should be out by Sunday, as we are a week away from the greatest race in the world, Lauren, the Daytona 500. I can't wait.
Are we going to draw winners the 13th?
We won't have a winner until after the race, because how it's going to go down is they're going to have to predict it.
Oh,
they're going to have to predict it. And speaking of predictions, I gave mine earlier, Lauren. How about you give those listeners out there your predictions on what's going down this Sunday at the Super Bowl? Who you got?
I'm taking the Chiefs.
Oh, so we're going to split the house. You hear it first, folks. Like I said,
my money's on the Chiefs.
I think Tampa Bay pulls it out in the last few minutes. Lauren's got the Chiefs. We'll keep you updated next week on how it shakes out here in the E's and B's compound. I can't wait. It's going to be a good game. I think it's really going to be a nail-biter.
Yeah.
And I hope for a good game anyway. Just for viewing pleasure.
I'm excited for some good food.
Also, fans, I want to make sure you keep another lookout on our YouTube channel, as we got some things in the works right now. I want to give a shout-out to our very, very close and loving friends, Deacon Julie, as we've sent them a challenge just recently. I know they're putting it together. As soon as we get the video, we're going to edit it and put it on our YouTube channel. It's going to be great. Starting a new little thing on our YouTube channel, so stay tuned to that. It's going to be a little additive here to the breakfast world that we will be doing, you know, in the future, Lauren, and it's going to be so much fun. I can't wait.
Yeah, we got a few things coming up in the future. There's a few different projects in the works right now for 2021. So.
That's right. And keeping things rolling on that topic, Lauren, how about next week? We're going to have a double dose, 2 episodes. You're going to have the E's and B's regular episode, but bringing it back by popular demand, Are you ready? It's the Murder Mysteries with Lauren. That's right. 2 episodes next week. I can't wait.
Moto Mysteries.
Lauren's Murder Mysteries is going to make the second appearance. Can't wait to talk about your new topic. We won't spill the eggs just yet.
It's a secret.
But it's going to be a good one, so stay tuned for that. A normal episode, like I said, plus a bonus. Murder Mystery, episode number 2, coming from Lauren next week. It's going to be great. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
As I wind things down here, Lauren, I think that's all I've got here on my notes. So let's jump into everybody's favorite. It's the numbers of the week.
That's right. Top 10 of the week. Also, I have the National Day of the Week. Today, Friday, February 5th, 2021, is National Bubblegum Day.
Woo! Get out your bubble gum.
I love bubblegum.
Blow them bubbles. Or kick rocks, right?
Yeah. It's also National Wear Red Day, which makes sense because, as some of you, maybe not all of you know, it is Heart Month.
Yes, National Heart Month.
It's National Heart Month. Go get your heart checked. Get your blood pressure checked.
Definitely. Stay up to date on that, folks. Let's keep a healthy year going forward here in 2021.
And we'll put out a link for the American Heart Association. See how you can get hooked up in February for all the fun, cool things they have heart-wise going on. It's kind of cool. So, moving on, top 10 of this week. We got, starting at number 10 is Freelacing Corinthia.
Corinthia!
Let me know if I'm saying that right. Somebody, whoever you guys are out there, let me know. Number 9, San Francisco, California. Number 8, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. 7 is San Diego, California, SD. 6, Sioux City, Iowa.
Sioux City!
That's awesome. Number 5 is Washington, Virginia. They have been a big
support. We love you guys. Thank you so much.
Lately.
Continue support. Hey, buy some of that E's and B's merch.
Can you support, tell a friend, share a friend, family member.
Yeah.
Number 4 this week is Cliché France.
Cliché France.
I think also tying with number 3, San Jose, California.
Ooh.
Putting a push out
They're
this
pushing
week.
in there. That's right. Yeah, we know Cliché France usually holding down the 3 or 2 spot. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. Number 2 is Fort Collins, Colorado.
Fort Collins.
And
Solid.
Number 1 this week is Denver, Colorado.
Making a return, Denver, Colorado. Like we said, we always love all the support out there. Keep it up. Keep sending us all those comments. Like, share, subscribe. Like she said, tell somebody, tell a friend, tell a neighbor, anybody. Tell them about the best wrestling and sports podcast around. It's the E's and B's podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We can't wait until next week, folks. Make sure you eat your breakfast.
Happy National Bubblegum Day. Wear red.
Blow bubbles.
Support your heart. Take care of your heart.